Cards, first home game for 40 days, and you come back and got what's a much needed win.
Yeah, the result was obviously massive and welcomed, but I thought the performance was very good. We've been working on stuff in training. I think at times you could see that. Certainly in the first half, there was a few passages of play which we've been working at. And I think today, when you look at, they had a change in manager last week. That could have been a real sort of tougher game. But I think the way we handled it, apart from where Liam Isherwood makes a great save in the first half, and he comes out and he's big and he's brave, and he makes a block, and then not long later we go up the other end and score the first. I think we've held them at bay for long periods of the game. Last 5 minutes of the first half, they had a bit of a spell, but for the way it's been and the way it's felt, I think there was a feeling in the dressing room before the game, and you get a sense at times how the atmosphere is, and I could feel we were going to have one of those days today, and we've got to make sure it's the start of something and not a one-off.
You played 4 at the back, which you did for a little bit last week at Stocksbridge. You now feel like you've got the personnel to be able to do that?
Yeah, well, we've never, I think you, Matt both know, and anyone who's been, supporting the club or with the club since my very first spell here and early on, we've never played 3 at the back, and it's not something I've wanted to play overly. It's just the way the makeup of the squad is, and not really having a Josh or somebody or a Cal who plays that lone role, to occupy 2 centre half. But we worked on stuff in a week to play wider more and to get the ball wide. But I felt every player today, subs included, performed. Mark up front on his own, 2 wide players with a threat. The midfield was full of energy and legs, and the back line, I thought Chris Doyle was outstanding. One half mistake in the first half led to a bit of a chance, but other than that, like I said about Liam's save, his kicking was on point, and we know there's good players here, and it's up to me and the staff to get that out of them, and but confidence is a big thing, and today should give us a big lift because we've put into the pitch what we've been practicing, and I think the more we do that, the more it will come off, because we have got good players.
You made a late call to play Jay Harris. I know he wasn't necessarily in your initial team, and that seemed to be one of the best games that he's played. He played a bit further up the pitch and seemed to enjoy himself. Yeah,
he's had this bit of a niggle, Jay, and he didn't finish training on Thursday, but Jay's one of them, you trust him to manage himself because of what he does away from the place, and he does manage himself well. And I pulled him before the game and said, how are you feeling? And I could tell looking at him that he was up for it today. He was here with it, and was at times, he was everywhere, picking bits up, getting little set balls. I thought him and Bells allowed Dales to roam a little bit. But like you say, he was pressing high up in the final third with 10 minutes to go, taking it off people, driving a couple of times. Probably should have made a pass instead of a shot. But listen, everybody knows what Jay can be. But he's part of a squad that should be doing better than what we are. But like I just said, hopefully that's a catalyst to push on and give lads confidence, and not think we've come anywhere. We've come from a real tough spell to get a win, and that's what it is. But we have to take a lot of belief from it, because if we don't, then no one else gives you this. I say that all the time. So but really pleased for every single player there today, because it has been tough. But if you keep working, you keep believing, you will turn it, and today should be the start of a turn for us.
You've struggled for goals, but Liam Brazier and Rhys Daly both scored their first goals today. But also you had chances to score more than 2, which must be pleasing.
It is, yeah. I think over the last few games we have had chances. You know, I was disappointed for Mark when he hit the bar. James Milado's had a chance on the back post. There's been a couple of opportunities in the first half which we haven't quite grasped. But you know, I think you know, when you're looking at those players as well, you've got Mark 19 on loan, Liam 18 on loan, Dale's 20, who's obviously our own player. So you know, there's good youth there, and if we can start, you know, if they can start making goal scoring a habit, then obviously we all want that, but it's also good for them at a young age. But you know, I thought Doyley was going to score from a corner where we worked a bit of a block as well. But you know, we do pose a threat, and we've got to make sure we keep working and playing in a way that allows them threats to be more and more in games.
Obviously, timing wise, that Reece Daly goal, how important was that goal to come as it did? Because obviously you've not won in a while. I guess the longer it stayed 1-0, I guess it had the potential to become a little bit more nervy, but to score so quickly after half time, it takes any momentum away from him, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and you know, the last 5 of the first half, where they hadn't had anything in the first half, was that feeling, you know, because it's been common, to say the least. But we rolled it out, and we seen it through, and then you're looking at the times of the goals and the big times. You know, Dale's is not struck as the cleanest, Liam hasn't struck as the cleanest, and both of them, I turned to the staff and I felt like I was turning to them and still hadn't crossed the line, both of them, because it felt an age to go over the line. But no, I felt we totally deserved that today. It's obviously been a long time coming for some people to enjoy the pint after the game instead of, you know, not, to say the least. So, you know, I hope they enjoy it, and I hope it's the start of where we should be heading, and it's the type of performance that we should be seeing more consistently. That's obviously, we've got to build on it. We can't, you know, we've done nothing. We've won 2 games. We've got to make sure we win more.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a tough run on the legs coming up. I think you play 9 games over the next 4 weeks. Very tough on the legs, but if you can get something going, they can create great momentum, can't they? And they can get you up the league pretty quick.
100%. You know, obviously it was important today with other results around us that we did win, that we did take 3 points. But like you say, we've got to use it as a springboard, especially in these games that are coming thick and fast. Like you say, you know, a couple more wins on top of today, and all of a sudden it's a lot. You want to be looking that way. You want to be looking who you can climb up to, and who you can overtake, and who, you know, on the coattails of. You know, but that's what we've got to be aiming for. You know, we shouldn't be in the position we are, but that doesn't mean to say we've got any divine right to be in a position, because we've been historically in this division. But we've got to work, we've got to keep going, we've got to keep trying to do the things we do, and try and give the lads more opportunities in training to gain confidence again. And then when you see bits and pieces that come out onto the pitch today, then that helps as well, because that you know, it sort of confirms what you're trying, and what you're trying to do to get the best out of them is working. And you know, we've just got to keep going with it.